Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Steve Poitras here, and today what we're going to be talking about is some of the new exciting enhancements and features that we've added to DevRev Trails. Now, first and foremost, to navigate to Trails, in your left-hand nav underneath Product, just go ahead and select Trails. Now, this is actually our live app. So here you can see we have 4 top-level products, but this is actually the DevRev instance, an app that we leverage day in, day out. So all of our build issues, all of our customer support conversations and tickets, we are actually actively managing them in this actual environment. So this is not a demo or sample environment. This is the environment I use every single day. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice here is the fact that we've removed the product selector. So we now display all products in the graph view. And what we realized there was there are going to be dependencies where certain features or runnables may depend on other features or runnables across product or service boundaries. And it made a lot of sense to just make sure that we actually display them in that way. One of the other core things that you'll initially realize here is we've actually removed the microservices or dev parts from the left-hand side. So now everything nicely flows from left to right, left being the most macro or aggregate, down to the more granular, the further right you get. Now, so here we can see we have 4 core products, DevRev Corp. We actually leverage this for internal ticketing as well. So like you would use an internal ticketing or task management system for facilities or help desk or finance requests, we actually leverage this internally for those ticketing needs. And one of the things that it really just goes to highlight is the fact that it is very, very flexible from a work management point of view. Now, if we go over here to the DevRev product, we can actually see here all of our capabilities. And because we're taking a look at Trails, we're going to go to the product management capability and then the Trails feature. Now, one of the things that you'll very quickly notice is sub-features. So one of the key feedback items that we have gotten is the fact that product capability and feature does not give me the level of granularity that I need. So we've actually introduced what we call sub-features. So these are features that can exist underneath other features. Now, in those sub-features, you'll actually notice a few core things: top customers, top supporters, and top contributors. So these are things that we've actually added where you can see who the top customers, supporters, and contributors are on a per part basis. So if I go ahead and select top contributors, I can see who the top contributors are for DevRev Trails. So these are people who are actively owning, creating, managing, and closing issues, contributing source code, and operating these parts. I can also see who the top supporters are. So these are people who are actively engaged in communication, feedback, as well as those ticketing, creating tickets, managing tickets, what be it. We can also view who the top customers are. Now, because this is our actual environment, I'm not going to click on that just due to privacy concerns. However, these would be our top customers from an engagement, from a conversation point of view for that particular part. Now, one of the other things that you'll notice there is this column selector. So rather than having these columns be fixed, you can actually customize these how you see fit. So if I wanted to view, runnables or features, or in this case, sub-features, I can view that. And as you previously saw, I could view the top contributors. So very, very flexible. And you can do this at any level in the hierarchy. One of the other things that we mentioned there is the shift from things being left to right. Right being the most granular, left being the most macro. So here you can see we have the parts feature, which is served by the particle runnable. Now, the way to think about runnables versus linkables, obviously new terms, runnables are things that can be instantiated, things that actually run. So this could be a microservice, it could be a Lambda. In this scenario, particle is actually an internal service that we leverage for all parts management and parts CRUD functionality. Now, those runnables may be dependent on other linkables. And the way to think about linkables is linkables are more like libraries. So we leverage some shared logging libraries, some shared components that all runnable or all services leverage. So, to quickly summarize that, runnables are things that can execute or run or live. Linkables are things like libraries that only exist when they're leveraged by something else. So just wanted to give a little bit of context and background there. Now, one of the other things you can notice here is contextual quick actions. So here I can see I can actually copy a link to this part. I can manage the links. I can archive this part. I can also very rapidly create an issue, create a ticket, create a runnable, create a feature in the context of the selected part. And that's one of the core things, is we want to make things as quick, as intuitive, and as simple as possible. So the more that we can minimize clicks and make it straight out of the box, the better. We've also added this information button here. So if we click on that information button, this will actually go ahead and bring up our details about that part. And obviously see, there's a lot of internal details about that part. On the top, you can also see that we've added a search bar, so you can actually leverage this search bar or our global search to search for parts. But that is something that is new. And in the lower left-hand corner, you can actually see contextual details about the selected part. So rather than having to click on this information button, bring up that modal, I can actually view that there's 79 active work items and 8 contributors to customer management from that point of view. So obviously very, very intuitive. We want to make things simple and as easy to use as possible. So obviously this is a lot of very exciting changes and enhancements that we've added to DevRev Trails. We're going to continually do this, right? So keep offering feedback. If you want to see things, reach out to us, offer that feedback. We're not building this platform for us, we're building it for you. And so in order to do that, and bring dev and rev or creator or vendor and customer much closer, we're really kind of, optimizing that communication and feedback loop. So definitely keep up the feedback and we'll keep iterating on the product. Thanks again.